This headline stopped me. A company decided, OG, that even with all these new late fees that we talked about just a couple weeks ago, we're going to find a different way to make money. It's almost like you're the Oracle of Delphi. And I'm not talking the automotive company. You're the Oracle who called this. The credit cards might find a different way to get stuff done. In this case, the company seriously laying down the lumber. Lowe's credit card now has anything?
Keep going.
Laying down the lumber.
We got
now has a 31.99% interest rates. Customers, this is going to come as a shock, call it loan sharking.
How about loan sharking?
Oh, see, Joe, that's how it's done right there.
Yeah. 32%.
32%.
It's like a payday advance, like those places that were.
It's just a bottle of a tube of caulk, for God's sake.
You got to put it on Klarna and have 87 payments for your caulk.
With only 480 payments of $1.75, this caulk could be yours.
Vanessa Wong wrote this piece. Vanessa writes that when John Gavea needed a new washer and dryer in September 2021, oh boy, a new washer and dryer at 32%. He signed up for a Lowe's credit card. The card's annual percentage rate at the time was, it was only 26.99.
Yeah, much more reasonable.
Run of the mill.
Totally. Quote, I realized that 26.99 is ridiculous, but we definitely need the washer and dryer, Gavea told MarketWatch. And cardholders get a discount on their purchase, he said. Later on, when he needed a freezer, he also put that on his Lowe's card. Gavea, 68 years old from North Carolina, said the monthly payments were manageable, but the interest rate steadily rose. He carries a balance on the card, but, quote, I've never been late on anything. I've been an excellent payer since 2021. In fact, his credit score, 760. Excellent on-time payment history. He got a notice that the APR on his Lowe's card recently was going to be going to 31.99. So he called the number on the card and tried to negotiate a lower rate. And you guys know what happened. They said, nay.
Come on.
Weird.
They're going to find a way, OG. They will find a way to get the money back.
I was just thinking about how, what to say about this besides don't do that if you can avoid it. I mean, he's talking about, he said, well, we needed a new washer and dryer. And that's probably true. We had a situation here at our house where our washer, took a crap, and then we fixed it for $500, and then it took another crap. And the guy came out and he says, listen, it's a $1,500 fix. You should just buy a new one because they're less than $1,500. Like the way the parts are and technology, it's not made to be this, 20-year machine anymore. It's a plastic thing with technology in it, and the circuit boards take a crap and whatever. But I was surprised at the wider range of price points, right? You could spend $500 for one, or you could spend $3,500 for one. And I guess what I'm thinking about here is there's times and circumstances where you need a washer and dryer, right? You're like, this one's broken, we have to have a new one. And then you get to the store and there's so many different choices, and is the right thing to say, like, I'm just going to buy the cheapest one because that fits the need. It literally only washes clothes. It doesn't, do anything else like all the other bells and whistles. I think that's the piece here. It's like, if you fall into I absolutely need to have this, I think you have to really kind of go bare bones base model as much as you can without any of the frills, because if you got to charge it and, God forbid, have to pay interest on it, you're going to be paying on this a while.
Yeah, let's go through. I feel bad for Gavea because, he's looking at his credit score. I think, first of all, that's the wrong thing to look at. I've got a great credit score. Well, you're still paying 26.99 even on that first card. I don't want to have a great credit score as much as I want to have the emergency fund and not use the credit at all.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if possible. Now, the other thing that he could do here, of course, is find a 0% rate or a low balance transfer rate to transfer this to, because his score is high, because he has a good payment history and presumably isn't maxing out the Lowe's credit card. Lowe's, by the way, is known for doling out huge lines of credit. So if you're like, complete sidebar, if you're working on building your credit, one of the angles of the acts associated with credit score is utilization. How much of your available credit are you using? And that counts for 35% of your credit score. If you have the ability to get a Lowe's card in very short order, you can increase the available credit on that thing. If you can trust yourself, this isn't rookie moves here, yeah. but you can make that credit card limit like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And you go, what the heck? I would never use that at Lowe's. That's okay. When you're thinking about building your credit, all that matters is that denominator of how much do you have? How much are you using? Yeah. How much do you have access to and how much you're using? If you've got a credit card that has a $5,000 limit and you always have a $3,000 balance, even if you pay it off, you use $3,000 and pay it off, according to the credit score people, you're using 60% of your available credit. That looks like crap. Even if you pay it off, you have perfect payment history, you pay no interest, that's a crappy part of your credit score. Instead, you have $50,000 of available credit, even if you're not going to use any of it, still charge your $3,000. Now you're using less than 10% of your credit.
That's an important lesson for a lot of people. Don't know that is a major factor in credit scores and getting approval for more credit. So I'm glad you explained that. But when was the last time when a store credit card was the cheapest option to get money? Yeah. Right, you're purchasing money. It's never ever been the cheapest option.
Yeah, Lowe's isn't a bank. Bank of America is a bank.
Right. They're like not the first middleman. They're at least the second middleman. So everybody's got to make profit through that whole chain of the loan. And so, yeah, anytime a store credit card is being offered, it's never the cheapest option. If this person had a 760 credit rating, not bad, means they've got other credit cards. Okay, understand there are times when a lot of people don't have the emergency fund they should have, Joe. Of course, that's always the first line of defense. But in lieu of that, at least make the effort to go look for the cheapest source of money you can. And it's probably one of the credit cards already in your pocket versus a store card.
I think the store card can be cheap.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it says it right here in the piece. He scored a discount because he used the store card. If he if he really wants to get technical about that, if we really want to get technical, if we want to play the game, which is what the credit card hacking community does, right? He opens the store credit card, he gets the discount, and then we do what OG says. Then we look for a different line of credit at a lower interest rate, and we transfer it immediately, knowing this is the evil empire. I think there's a bigger problem, though, which is the whole idea of know yourself. I mean, for some people, opening up this huge line of credit through Lowe's and not using it is great. But there's a bunch of people that if I've got plastic in my wallet, all of a sudden I find an emergency where that has to.
You have M&Ms at Lowe's, right?
Yes, right. They do. That has to be accessed. And I was there. I remember having those feelings. I'm like, oh, I got a gas card. I think it's time to go to Sunoco. Time for more pork rinds.
Sunoco.
Clark. Mine was Clark. Clark gas station. $200 limit. It was awesome.
We're laughing, but this is how they get people, right? And to your point, Lowe's is, by the way, not even the credit card issuer. It's a company called Synchrony. And of course, Reddit users complaining about the recent rate hikes on social media. One Reddit user described the increased APR as, quote, loan shark rates. Totally true. Predatory as hell, another wrote. They've also been objecting to, and another way, OG, they're clawing this money back as the government decides we're gonna make sure that you don't pay these stupid late pay fees. We're going to find another way. Now it's $1.99 fee if you want your bill on paper. If you want paper.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. We'd happily do it. We're going to give you that. What's a stamp now? I'm not old enough to know what a stamp is.
It just says forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not old enough to know.
The government figured that out too. Like if we don't put the price on there, then they'll never complain.
That's it. If we don't write and Lowe's took a page apparently out of their playbook. If we don't write the $1.99 anywhere. But more good news though in credit card land. They're not the only one with the new credit card. Robinhood, OG. Robinhood, by the way, I don't know if I didn't realize this or I wasn't paying attention. You know, Robinhood's ticker symbol is HOOD, is hood, which is what the robber pulls down when they are taking away all your money.
Like mask, you know,
it should be like mask. Robinhood, ticker symbol hold up.
Is there an apostrophe before hood?
It's so amazing. And you'd be like, I love Robinhood. No, what did they do bad? Well, Robinhood still trying to increase the disguises that helps them prove that they're awful company. You know, more smoke, more mirrors. Robinhood wants to be, quote, a one-stop shop. Of course they do. If I could steal your hubcaps and your front grill and the radiator.
And your sense of self-worth.
Let's get all of it. They want to be a one-stop shop with its new credit card. Is a Robinhood Gold Card a good deal? This also from MarketWatch. Andrew Keschner and Hannah Aaron Lang wrote this. Robinhood was once an upstart brokerage platform giving investment powerhouses a run for their money by appealing to a new generation of traders and investors. There's so much hilarious about that one sentence.
Yeah. Schwab is really shaking in their boots over Robinhood, but go on.
But also, we couldn't get anybody who knew what they were doing, so we went for the new generation because we could fool them. Now the financial services company is continuing its bid to become an integral part of the money decision of its users by rolling out its own credit card. There's that joke, Doug, that Jim Gaffigan does. You know, this whole water thing, it's a scam. You know where they get you? You got to buy the tray.
Yeah.
The water's
There's a
free.
recipe for ice on the back of this.
The water's for free, but if you want to make ice, you got to buy the tray. That's where they get you.
That's how they get you.
But this is where they get you. I have an Xbox. And if you want to communicate on the Xbox with anybody, play a game with anybody, you have to buy their upcharge, right? And then when you realize that your PC will connect with the Xbox and hey, you can start a game on the Xbox and then you can play it on your PC. And oh, by the way, we're going to make this Netflix-ish, no longer buy games. We're going to make it so it's everybody's creating their ecosystem. Apple has their ecosystem. I'm in hell because I'm stuck between both of these ecosystems, right? Netflix wants to have their ecosystem, Amazon with their ecosystem. Robinhood OG is just doing the thing that Professor Scott Galloway talks about, just making sure that we capture all the money.
Back to what I said earlier, this is going to be something I don't have much to say about because this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
So in the open, Joe, I said legalized scams, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it really a scam or is it just like, this is not the greatest way to manage your money?
Well, I think that that's a great question. So if I'm buying an Xbox, I mean, I'm going to use the Xbox analogy, not the Robin, because people have heard me beat up on Robinhood, but let's use the Xbox analogy because I like Xbox. Yeah.
You occasionally play.
Every once in a while, I partake.
I don't inhale, so it's totally okay.
Never once. I turn it on, but I never play the games. Mm-hmm. So when you buy the Xbox, you think you're buying this piece of hardware. You're not buying the piece of hardware. If I buy the Robinhood Gold Card, I'm not buying the Robinhood Gold Card. I'm further into the ecosystem, and they're going to give me more privileges if I use the Gold Card in conjunction with their other offerings. The second on Xbox that I buy the Xbox, if I want to play any game with OG or Doug, if we want to get on and play golf together like we have in the past, I've got to buy the chat channel that comes with it if I want the ability to play multiplayer games at all. And then if I'm going to play 3 or 4 games, hey, you know what? So I'm buying them the ability to pay them even more money. The Gold Card itself doesn't look bad. It offers 3% cash back on all spending categories. I remember we started working with Magnify Money. Nick Clements, who was an industry insider, worked with Citi and with Barclay. Nick said, if you get anything over 2, you're doing well. This is 50% higher than 2. So is the card good? Yes. but it's never OG in any of these. We just did a show about gotchas recently, right? The financial gotchas a couple weeks ago. We'll link to that because I thought with you, Roger Whitney, and Shauna Game, the three of you did a great job of talking about the fact that it isn't what's being said. This is a great card. It's what they're not saying. Like, I think as humans, we're really good at knowing, no, my BS meter's there, but we're not good at catching what is not being said, which is what they're luring you to is a crappy product.
And this gets back to, each individual piece of your financial puzzle. Does it make sense to really hyper optimize or try to each specific thing, right? You might look at a credit card and say, well, if I have this and I spend in these categories, then I'm going to get this amount of reward or cash or whatever. And then, that's 50% better than this. You know what I mean? You can spend lots and lots and lots of time and then not pay attention to your point. You're not paying attention to the $1.99 fee that wipes this all out, or the fact that you have a balance which charges you interest, which wipes all this out, or that the rewards platform, only sends the cash to, this bank, which is a crappy interest. You know what I mean? Like, versus simplifying your life and having, as much as you possibly can, kind of simple, and then finding out what's the lever that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. You know what I mean? Like, that's mostly around spending energy on your savings, spending money on your income, spending money on your personal development and personal utility. There's one piece that I agree with Dave Ramsey, is that there's never been anybody who's gotten rich on credit card points. Like, that's a perk. I'm certainly happy that I have a crap load of Marriott points and a crap load of Amex points and all these other ones that when we go somewhere, I can just go, I don't, just pay with points, and not really have to think about it. But that's not why people are going to be financially successful.
No. And I think that's, if we think order of operations, I think that, OG, that's why we start with what ecosystem do I want to be in? So I hear stuff about Vanguard. Okay, go to the Vanguard website. The great thing about Vanguard, very low fees. The thing everybody complains about most loudly, Mindy Jensen over at Bigger Pockets, our friend Mindy, complains about that website, and that customer experience sucks, right? But if you appreciate super low fees, you're going to go to Vanguard. Okay, well, I want to moderate that a little bit. Then go look at Fidelity. Go look at Schwab. But I don't think you start with, hey, Robinhood has this sweet ass credit card. The brokerage service stinks. The tools are horrible. They're known for ripping you off. They've done it over and over again.
But I'm getting 5% of my cash back.
Right, exactly. I think you got to
start with. You only spend $8,000 a year on your credit card. Like, that's $40, or $400. It's like that's not going to move the needle. Yeah.
Who's going to be your partner? What brokerage firm are you going to work with? And then I think use all the perks. Like, hey, if you've decided, no matter everything that we said, that you love Robinhood, this is a pretty damn good credit card. I'm in that ecosystem. Take advantage of that credit card. If that helps you, then that's great. But I don't think we start here. I
don't think you spend really any energy there, honestly, because
good point.
Because the end result is, a fairly insignificant move the needle. It's all downside. You know what I mean? Like, back to the Lowe's thing. Like, yeah, you can get 3% cash back, and that's fantastic. But if they're charging you above average interest and you happen to carry a balance, I would rather get no cash back and a competitive interest rate, and and be okay with the fact that, for whatever reason, I got to carry a balance on my credit card because I'm like the average American and I do, then the points don't matter. You need to probably have a freaking credit union credit card that's going to charge you 7 or 8% interest with no perks of any kind and a really crappy limit.
Yeah.
Because that's going to pay off way more than the fact that you get double X points if you use this travel service to book your flight through, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
There it is. That's the place. That's the place to start. That definitely is the order. What ecosystem? What am I trying to do? Be the CFO of your situation. Forget about the points.